Welcome to Misery Zone. This is another Misery show. I think I'm recording, I assume. I recently had a surgery on my eyelid, which here's a photo of it, of the results. At least a close-up photo. And so I've been kind of out of it, and I thought the surgery wasn't going to be that big a deal, but it's definitely kind of kicked my ass. I've been pretty fatigued. I cry in blood, which that's cool. I mean, that's a positive. So that's cool. I mean, hopefully that doesn't stay the case, but I don't know. It might. That would suck. That might be disfigured for the rest of my life, like a golem. That also, there's pluses and minuses to that. I think I accidentally, because I've had this issue of a tearing eye. My eye, I constantly tear in my eye, and I've had other like small surgical operations with the lacrimal duct, the tear duct, opening that up, and this doctor said, yeah, you just have to, pull it over to the side, and then it will open up or something. I'm not a doctor. He said something a little bit different. I don't want to go into it. It's boring. Anyways, I think I got a facelift on one half of my face, and that's probably not good. We'll see, I guess. I'll find out in the next couple days. I mean, my eye's still pretty swollen. So I went and saw the Superman movie, and I really enjoyed it. And I felt like it was the right time for me to see it because my eye was all busted up. Because I do Death of Power, and Death of Power has a beaten up Superman. My main version of Superman is nice and beaten up. So I kind of do look. I did look a little bit like that. It's not as swollen as that is anymore. But I thought that was kind of cool. It'd be cool to see Superman beaten up like that since I've done this comic. So it's like art, mimicking life mimicking art, or something like that. I don't know. So I'm actually gonna draw a panel for the next issue. The Kickstarter for issue 7 is going on right now. I think this is its last week. It'll end on the 31st, which I believe is Thursday. So this is usually what I do. I did this rough drawing digitally with the just getting the expression down and the structure and the little details like roughly down, and then I use some marker paper, which is really translucent, and I have this little light pad that it's really cool. You can make it really bright or really dim, and I usually go for the really dim one. That seems to work the best for me. So as reference, while I'm looking at doing this drawing, I've been looking at some Alex Raymond Rip Kirby strips, and And this is like some of the old classic. I think this one is from the 40s or 50s. This is the 50s. 55, 56. And, you know, I just love the way he draws women. And it's just really solid, realistic cartooning. Oh, sorry about that. I just hit the camera stand. Really, I mean, and I've recently been also reading E.C. Seeger's Popeye, and it's just really impressive to me, like how great at one point comic strips were and why they were the kind of gold standard for cartooning in that era of the 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Then comic books, I think, at least with illustration, began to dominate a little bit more. Because like in the 60s, 70s, a cartoonist of this caliber would be probably working at DC or Marvel at that time period. I mean, if they're starting out. Obviously, there were still, you know, cartoonists, really. And there's still really great cartoonists like Thomas Yates. I believe that Yates, I always said it Yates, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But he's the current artist on Prince Valiant. And he's amazing. He's very, very good. But yeah, so I really love this stuff. You know, to be honest, I haven't read the entirety of these books. The writing for comic strips have always been a little stale to me. But the illustration and just the beauty of the line work of this era of cartooning has always really spoke to me. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Hal Foster and Alex Raymond for sure. So hopefully my head doesn't get in the way, but it might. You might see my head. So you'll be seeing this at an angle, but I need to be able to actually draw. So yeah, Rip Kirby and Hal Foster. Rip Kirby. Alex Raymond and Hal Foster. I'm really fascinated about their techniques and just overall, you know, illustration skill. I know a lot of cartoonists, like some of them feel like they're not comics, you know, or cartoons. It's more illustration, especially with Hal Foster, where it becomes, because it's a you know, kind of a storybook format almost. So for the pencils, I'm using a 0.5 and a 0.3. I tend to go back and forth with those mainly, depending on the line thickness. And I have a 0.9, but of course, my fucking desk is a goddamn mess, and I can't find the fucking 0.9. Okay, I found it. It's in my pocket. But yeah, these are the my business cards, more or less, that I've made to advertise Death of Power as like a free little pickup at cons and stuff. And there's some, I want to make a kids comic using this format. I haven't, you know, figured out, but this is the 0.9 that I also use. And I do have a 0.7, but for some reason I rarely use it. I don't know why. So the Kickstarter is going really good. Like, I'm really, really happy with how that's going. Maybe I'll turn this guy off. Might be better. Yeah, to make sure that's down. Yeah, I need that guy off. It's actually kind of causing me to be blinded. the glare. So this is a little vulnerable for me to draw because I do make, a lot of changes and errors when I'm drawing. But yeah, so I just want to say thanks to everybody who's backed the Kickstarter so far. I really appreciate it, and it's really helps me. It helps to motivate me for sure, and also it's definitely needed to print the books. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any book printing. The main goal right now is trying to figure out how to, expand exposure of it, and that's like I think everybody is, experiencing. It's very, very difficult now. It seems like things are kind of locked down, like with social media in general, in the sense that, man, sorry, these noses are really hard to draw. The angles, the subtle angles of the nose is always a challenge. If I'm disfigured, or if if half my face is like facelifted, like from the movie Brazil. That's an old film, but they have it. If you're younger, you probably haven't seen it, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's a Terry Gilliam movie, and there's one of the best, sequences of describing, plastic surgery in cinema history in that film. And if half my face is like that, where it's just like I'm a cat woman suddenly, or that cat lady that had a lot of plastic surgery, then the other half is just my old fucking wrinkled face. I don't know if that's how can I use that to my advantage, marketing wise. Like I don't know. It's like a two-faced type thing. I guess I'm two-faced, like everybody, like two-faced. Like, definitely like talking shit about people. I probably shouldn't say that. Oh man, this bottom eyelid's not working. Damn it. So this is a lot of my drawing process, so it's not fun. You see, like, oh, by the way, there is Frank Cho has a YouTube channel that where he just does like live streams of his drawing, and it's really great. I definitely recommend checking it out. I think you can learn a lot from it. Yeah, and I'll have a link to it down below. Okay, so the character I'm drawing here is the character Louise Lang, my doppelganger for Lois Lane. So, and in the story, she's basically become like a new god, and along with my version of Lex Luthor, who is for the story is Ludluster. which I've always found the name Lud being kind of a goofy fucking name, but I mean, it's just a kind of interesting name. There's a lot of weight to it, you know. But anyways, yeah, they both of them have become new gods basically in this in my version of the death of power, and here she is going to be like tripping out basically because of a fight she's having. So like a weapon being used. I don't want to. It'll be obvious what it is once maybe it already is obvious. But she's fighting War Lady, which is my interpretation of a Wonder Woman character who's kind of the central character in this section of the book. Interesting thing happened. I'm not sure how people have been responding to my version of the Return of Superman or the Return of Power, and from the images that I've put out on, for the Kickstarter for DOP7, because he fully returns in DOP7, which is Death of Power 7. I just, DOP is the abbreviated name I've been given it. And, yeah, because everyone has bought everything else, but, like, of the original art, except for the drawings of Power. So I was thinking, like, maybe, the drawing of Power, or the design I'm using, needs improvement, or, maybe people aren't liking the direction I'm going, which that's fine. That's fine. It's, there's no need to always agree with the choices of the direction a book goes. But, it made me start to think of, okay, well, maybe I need to redesign this character, and I did actually come up with a design I was thinking about, and I really liked. I was like, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, that would have been way neater or cooler to have done it that way. But it's kind of set in stone at this point, at least for the individual issues. But yeah, when the goal is to eventually do a compilation of the book, obviously, like a graphic novel. That is my long-term goal with Death of Power, because I think it works really, really good as a series. I think like I've been lucky enough to get it to the point where like each book feels complete so far, at least, and also adding like a little bit of a cliffhanger for the next issue. So yeah, I think it's been working pretty well, but it's obviously one story. It's one long story. So hopefully it'll be able to be read in that format. And when I do that, let's just say I'm able to do all that. Like I'm able to finish the book, and I find a publisher, or I'm able to just publish it myself the way I have been, for the compilation for the trade of Death of Power. It would be. Part of me is like thinking like, oh yeah, I'll maybe for that I'll do the design, like a separate design for Power, for Power's Return. It depends. That's a real challenge, you know. But maybe I would have to do a test, and also check it with friends of mine, and just have them look at it and see if I'm crazy or not, or if it's worth it. And sometimes, even though things aren't exactly the way you want it, they're the way they are, and you just need to leave it. And at that case, I could use this design I have, this idea for a design I have for another character in another comic. That's more than likely. That's probably what I'll do. But I don't know. I really I do fan edits and director's cuts and different extended editions, alternate cuts of movies, and maybe doing something where, for the book series, for the individual series, the Return of Power looks one way, and then for the compilation it looks different another way. I don't know. It's just fucking around. It's different ideas. I also use these mono zero erasers. So, I wonder, what? Son of a bitch. Beep. Okay. Thinking here for a second. Brief, momentary second. Damn it. I don't know. Sometimes, talking about Frank Cho, it's just, and also artists of that caliber and skill level, you see their work, and my God, they're so efficient in how they make their art. Frank Cho does erase, quite a bit, but more or less everything is kind of perfect. Even the marks he erased, usually. Hold on one second. Jesus. So at this point, this is when I started having to go into my meditative Buddhist chants, so I don't, crumple my paper and scream. Well, I'll scream, but not on video, not right now. I want to keep things. That's not right. That's not right. Getting these fucking teeth in there. Do, 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 do. No. I'm gonna have to move all this. Move all of this up. So yeah, like this is where sometimes like I definitely, it isn't like I know what I'm doing. A lot of it's just educated guessing. I don't know if most people are like that or not. Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. But yeah, I wish I was better, but as Popeye would say, man, what Popeye says is, "I am what I am." Yeah, that's what that fucker says, Popeye. And unfortunately, it applies to me too. So I am what I am. And that's all that I am. Now, will transhumanist be a fan of Popeye? No. And that's when I realized transhumanism was a flawed philosophy. Because anyone who doesn't like Popeye is not only not American, but not human. And after reading Thimble Theater by E.C. Seeger and the Whifflehan saga, that is the first introduction of the mighty and probably the greatest comic strip character of all time, Popeye. I've come to that conclusion. Popeye. Oh, fuck. Does that look good? Shit. Man. Man. Yeah. I'm sitting here, like, struggling with a rough drawing and a light table and using a real flexible medium like graphite. And then you, like, look at those videos of Kim Jong-gi and just the mastery that guy had. Oh my God. And I'm looking at some reference and stuff, at least some inspiration of like, and that guy just was such an amazing talent. Luckily, I was able to see him do a art demo at a gallery in San Francisco back in it's 2013, I think, and it was great. It was really, really cool. And I bought a graphic novel or a graphic album. It was a French company. It was a French publisher, so it was the graphic album Bande Denisse, or whatever the fuck they call it, format. So it was like, I think 48 to 68 pages. Those books. And it's beautiful. It's just amazing. And it's done in his marker style, with the Copic markers and stuff. So, and Jesus, I think like everyone, who's aspiring will look at Kim Jong-gi and be like, oh man, I could get so much done if I could draw like that guy. Like, Jesus, how how do you fucking and from interviews of him, it does seem like obviously there's some he does have a photographic memory, so it's a definitely a plus, but it's also like the level of study and work that he put in to his craft is unparalleled, and he just had that visual library memorized. It's just really inspiring. And yeah, I just look at that and I was just like, shit, man, I could get so much. If I was at that skill level, which, it's just something to aspire to, not something to expect to achieve, But yeah, you should aspire to it. And if you're at that skill level, man, I could get so much shit done. Fuck. But, especially for me, like I know I'm a relatively slow artist in comparison to a lot of people who are like working in, professionally in comics, like for the big two. How does that look? Yeah, that looks all right. But I don't know. I'm starting to feel less insecure about that, about my, issues with speed. And one of the reasons I designed Death of Power, the style of Death of Power, was to help with that speed. I wanted to design a really stylistic and clean style, comic style for the book. Partially because of wanted the graphic element to be a part of the storytelling, and really it's because I have been reading a lot of manga. Oh man. Somewhat of a, and I've been thinking a lot of how staging works in manga, like, and storytelling is how more action focused, more animatic in nature. Animatics are like storyboards that are set made into a small little film. So you can see get an idea of how your cartoon's going to look like once, before you actually commit to the, sending it overseas at this point and getting it animated. And, big movies, big special effects films make previs, I think they call it. And I think they're doing something even more than just making a animatic film. I think it's even more in depth, using new tools to get an idea of what the film's going to be before you shoot it or film it. So you can really lock down shots and be really efficient with your time. So it's really cool, like Dune, like the Dune and Dune Part 2 by the Denis Villeneuve. Villeneuve. Yeah, Villeneuve. The master. Who, I mean, honestly, like, that Denis Villeneuve is, I think, like, at this point, like, the best visual or big budget special effects director. I think that's would be him. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, but I think just for the way special effects are used and um, and the final product, like there's a certain look that he's able to get that's so believable that other big studio projects, you don't have that same level of believability, you know. And you don't always want that. You don't always want that, you know, style of, you know, it looking realistic. I mean, there is something to be said for letting things just look fantastical, like I am still a fan of Ray Harryhausen. I think his work looks beautiful. I love Phil Tippett. Like I love his stop motion that he did, and you know, in RoboCop, and you know, Willow. He did the dragon. It looks great. It's fantastic stuff. And no, yeah, I can tell it's not real, but it's cool. You know? And I kind of think like there, if the design is good and the staging's good, you don't need to have it look realistic. You just need to have it look cool. I would say like that new Superman movie, for me, that falls into that category. Like, yes, like everything looks, you know, you can tell it's computer animated, but this, you know, the staging and the storytelling and the designs are all cool. Like, yes, that's not a real dog. That is Crypto the super dog. And that's fine that it, you know, doesn't look like a fucking real dog. So as long as it has character and still tells the story. Oh man. Getting the tongue out. Oh Jesus, that might be. I just realized something. Okay, all right. Oh. It would be kind of hilarious for me to do a live demo because it would be such a nightmare. I mean, and I think people would enjoy that, like just to see me struggle and to be like, oh my God, I suck. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know. I think like a long time ago, I kind of realized like I just wasn't going to be a mainstream, or, you know, I might be considered a mainstream artist. I don't know. But I wasn't going to be hired. No company is going to hire me. You know, not at my skill level and speed. You know, that's what I was thinking at the time. So I just made peace with that, and you know, not everyone can draw fucking for, you know, Spider-Man or an actual Superman comic, but you can pretend, I guess. Isn't that what? Oh, no. Isn't that what drawing comics is about? Making things up. I was thinking of talking about how I don't know what you think of this philosopher. Some people, don't like him, but I like listening to him. It's the Slavoj Zizek, and I've only seen a couple, so I don't really know much about him. So if he's canceled, like, I hate him. But if he's not, then yeah, I do like listening to him. And one of the things he was talking about was the belief of Santa Claus, in the sense of, and using that maybe as a metaphor for Christianity. That I'm not 100% sure on. Anyways, I don't know where I was going with it. The basic idea, though, was that, Santa Claus, who, is, obviously not real, at least not in the sense of the story we tell children. Of like, oh, he's gonna come and give you presents, and you're going to have to go to bed, leave out some cookies and stuff like that. And, and this is an interesting interpretation of culture, is in the sense that the children know that that's not true, at least the majority of children. At a certain point, but they continue to play along with it because the parents don't realize that the children don't know. So the children are believing in the concept of Santa Claus for the sake of the community and the parent's doing the same thing, like going along, at least saying this, that, oh, Santa Claus is going to be coming, even though they know Santa Claus doesn't exist. And that, but for the sake of their child, they go along with this, this tradition, I guess, and in a sense, it's done, to keep the magic of the world alive in their child. And maybe that's what all culture is, like a collective lying to each other so we can continue and survive in a very dark and depressing world, a very challenging world. I kind of believe, and in that sense, a belief in Santa Claus can be beautiful. It's a very kind thing to do, and it's not about the truth of it. It's about the feeling the belief creates. And I think there's a lot in our culture that is, like that right now. Because it does seem that truth is secondary to emotion, and a feeling of security. And there's definitely negatives to that, for sure. But luckily for me, I never feel secure. So, and I don't have any kids, and I don't talk to other people in general. I try to avoid it. Which, that's not good. That's a problem. You try not to be isolated, but it's easy to be isolated, for sure. And there's Honestly, there is a comfort when you get used to isolation. There is a comfort to it. Um, uh, you know, it, it, most people luckily don't live like that, right? So I think like during COVID, when everyone was forced to be isolated, a lot of people didn't have the strategies or tools to manage that level of isolation. Um, which is, I mean, and not to say that for someone who's used to isolation that it wasn't extremely hard. It still was, you know, harder than the average bout of isolation. And it was also scary, That whole period was scary because there was a lot of unknowns. People forget like how like scared it's and for good reason. Like you don't know what's happening, and in my opinion, there's a lot of some of the reaction you saw was a some of that stuff with the anti-vax stuff and everything was a response not so much against the vaccine but against that feeling of fear that everyone experienced during that period. But what do I know? I can't even fucking draw a goddamn piece of hair correctly. Oh jeez. I noticed Brian Boland does these like little lines on the edge, make it look really good. Like of the characters, he's been posting more on Facebook, not Facebook. What am I on? Instagram, I think. And yeah, his work's always so good, and it's always amazing that it's like. Okay, what am I doing here? It's always amazing that it's, digital. Like it's, and I tried that process too. That I think Galacto Pit Fighters 1 and 2 were both digital, and that one is the reverse of this process. So. I would do a rough sketch, in pencil, and then I scanned it in, and then I inked it digitally, or did the line work digitally. This is the opposite of that, and I like this. I really have fallen in love with doing these pencil cleanups. I did briefly work in 2D animation when there was an industry in San Francisco in the late 90s, briefly. And I wasn't good at it. I kind of sucked. And, I don't know. I think there's certain things I could have done better and, probably handled the politics of fucking working in a place better. I was kind of younger. But anyways, yeah, I stopped working in that industry. Also, it was right when I graduated and started in that field. Disney laid off all their top animators, or all their animators. They stopped the 2D production, and suddenly everything was flooded with all these senior animators, and I was about to get hired at one place, that some friends of mine worked at, and that fell through. Primarily, at least they said it was because like the company made a decision to only hire Disney level artists, and this was the company doing Happy Tree Friends, which is an amazing cartoon, and the animator who made that, I forgot his last name. It's been a while, and I'm sure that guy's still working in animation. That guy's amazing. Yeah, to say that like Happy Tree Friends needs fucking Disney level animators, it was pretty hilarious. Happy Tree Friends was like on the level of a South Park. Honestly, it's better animated than South Park, so a little bit more of that John K. Spunko quality to it. And you can still find Happy Tree Friends on YouTube and stuff. I don't even know if it's still doing. But yeah. So that fell through. Yeah. It happens. Doesn't matter. I mean, it did suck for me then, actually. At the time, I kind of needed that job, but whatever. That's always how it goes. Yeah. And doing this hair, so for Louise Lang, I usually give her this bob. This kind of Betty Page slash Lois Lane bob. Dave Stevens' art's always really, really good to look at for the Betty Page art. Again, another incredible artist. I think he worked in animation too, but at a more serious level. I really worry for the 2D industry right now. And it's frustrating because there's obviously a lot of potential for 2D animation, a lot more than I think the studios, I think like I'm pretty disappointed in Warner's right now, and in fact all the studios I'm kind of disappointed in. Because they deserve my disappointment. Yeah, I don't know. But they could, if they wanted to, really take a lot more chances than they do, and create much better content than they do. But it's this kind of wanting to satisfy everybody, doing movies by committee and whatnot. But that said, maybe they know something I don't. Who the fuck knows? Or that they should just take more risks and invest in the artists that they hire. I guess what I'm trying to say, is that it seems that Hollywood is, more a place with a private equity mindset than a creative mindset. in the sense that they want to strip things for parts. They want to make short-term money. And as opposed to creating long-term value. It just seems that there's a lot of issues going on. I think with with the world in general, one of the issues is marketing and analysis. It seems to be broken, and for a number of reasons. One is the misinterpretation of big data, I think. I think that's one. And the over-reliance on big data. And that might be a byproduct of the cost of films being so expensive. And that's where I do think like 2D animation should have a opportunity to make, you know, low budget cinema, you know, in the sense that if you have a fantastical film like a Hayao Miyazaki, like Howl's Moving Castle, if that was done in the United States, it would be done live action, and it would be egregious at how expensive that movie would look and be, you know, cost. In Japan, and you know, I think that movie cost under $20 million, or maybe even less. It's, you know, and some of that is from the exploitation of the animators, you know, because animators in Japan don't get paid as much as they should. So that's an issue. But even if, you know, and I do think like the animators in Japan should be paid more than they are. I think, you know, I just, in general, I think people who are of the executive suite of things are paid too much, just on average. You know, so there needs to be more equity in how, you know, the rewards of making a film are distributed. Like in the United States, you know, that's, you know, no one's seen Iron Man because, I'm sorry, I mean, even though he was very good in it, no one saw Iron Man because Robert Downey Jr. was in it. They saw Iron Man because the special effects were good, and the storyboards that the creative team designed for the show, those were good. Robert Downey Jr. was just the icing on the cake, but if you have a shitty cake, no one's gonna eat it, you know. And the fact that out of everyone in the production, the people that make the final, you know, image on screen get paid the least, it's not good. Anyways, whatever. Again, I don't know anything. So if whatever I'm saying upsets you, or you disagree and you're like, well, this guy's obviously never worked in Hollywood, you are correct. You know, maybe Jerry Bruckheimer really made a difference on, you know, Michael Bay's The Rock. I don't fucking know. But there's a lot of people that made a lot of contributions that don't get paid what they deserve, and that's a long-term systemic issue in every facet of working in the United States. It's just how it is. But that's why you want to be good at bullshitting. Unfortunately, it seems like it really does help out. More straight. Okay. All right. Shit. I'm gonna have to draw some of this. This hair. So this is the next thing I do. Sometimes I'll go into the drawing and work out, figuring some stuff out before I commit to that final line. And a lot of what I'm doing for that line work is this is an interpretation of cleanup drawing for animation. That's kind of where I discovered this. And then I discovered this marker paper, which has that translucentness to it. And I don't know, it just seems to really work. Oh! Fuck! I was drawing it wrong. Okay. Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, that's wrong. Damn it. So, you can see, as I said earlier, I suck. One day, yes, you say that now, but one day I shall be a master. Beta. See what I do there? It's called. Yeah, it's called comedy. It's it's a yes and yeah, and expectations of some sort, and squash stretch. And my eyes starting to feel a little sore and bubbly. Oh man, I kind of wish I didn't get this fucking eye thing. Guy talked. I don't know. Maybe the doctor. I felt like I was not necessarily talked into it, but probably should have asked to get a second opinion. What if the $6 Million Man? So $6 Million Man was this guy, crashes his plane and they rebuild him because he's I guess a top secret, test pilot. So they go like, hey, let's make some lemonade out of these lemons, and that's not, let's never always use a tragedy or something. I forgot this statement. Oh shit, that's wrong too. And so they rebuild him. No, this is a funny joke. No, I got a bit here. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I'm trying. If this fucking comic book stuff doesn't work, I'm going directly into my stand-up comedy And, you know, I'm going to need a lot of support, and all this negative shit you're saying is really pissing me off. And this is why I don't stream. Because my nightmare of, you know, criticism from you jackals would become manifest and real. Yes, fuck that. So anyways, the joke is, you know, the $6 million man signed up to become bionic. And then he realized only one leg is bionic, the other leg's not. And then one arm's bionic, the other. He's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I think the bionic man only had one bionic leg, but then he's running fast. So he had to have two bionic legs. I don't know. These are mysteries that can never really be fully resolved. I don't know. I don't know what. I'm not too familiar with the Bionic Man, so. Although it did have one great episode of a Bigfoot that Andre the Giant, surprisingly enough, you know, was Bigfoot. Was the Bigfoot. He was and guess what? Guess what? Bigfoot was an alien. And not only an alien, he was a robot alien. They don't make shows like that anymore. Maybe I can sue this doctor that fucking gave me this surgery. If it goes bad, I'm totally doing it. And then I'll be able to afford to print my comics. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm just gonna kind of push myself into talking the doctors into giving me risky surgery. So eventually it'll fail. Then I can sue those motherfuckers and get that doctor money. And then my not for kids comics will be like a company in and of itself where, you know, I really did draw that too dark now. Oh man. And yeah, that's how I'm gonna fund it. I'm gonna be a plastic surgery disaster, and then you know, but I'm gonna do it for art. To fund my art, to fund my love. Yeah, that's how it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, baby. I'm gonna make $1 million from suckering these doctors into giving me facelifts. Then I'm gonna sue the shit out of them. Yeah, I don't know. There might be some problems with that plan. But I do like the idea of the Bionic Man. Okay, so this joke is, you fucks, the Bionic Man. And he goes, make me bionic. And then afterwards he's like, I don't want to be bionic anymore. Yeah, I didn't know you were going to do this. I can't feel my toes anymore. They're robot toes. Okay, so I think this comic book stuff needs to work out because I can tell that I might not have what it takes to be a stand-up comic. Fuck. God damn it. You know, one thing about getting older is you really, really start to see, like, the doors close. It's like, of opportunities. Like, younger, you're like, yeah, things will turn around. Yeah, no, give it a couple years. One day one day this is gonna work, right? And then that one day comes. And guess what? You're still having to, work coat check. Yep. At the local museum. Oh, God. if I should fill this hair with black. Oh man, I really did draw some really beautiful hair on some of these other scenes. I'm not sure. Okay, that's looking pretty good, I think. Damn it. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to be probably finishing this up off screen. I like how the lips came out and the eyes. Like, features feel good. The hair is feeling good. I'm kind of messing up around here, but not too bad. And again, I guess you know, if you guys have any idea of how to make my Bionic Man bit better, leave it in the comments. I'm going to put a link to Frank Cho because he's the best. He's honestly one of the best cartoonists for superhero comics working in the field, I think. I just love the way he draws anatomy. And it's really cool that we have a you know, a YouTube channel where he's showing his techniques and stuff. Let me go here and go here and go here because this is all going to be black. I wonder. Okay, so wait, hold on. And there's I drew too dark here, so I'm gonna have to let me go here. I'm gonna have to clean some of this up digitally. Okay, just gonna have to do it that way. Yeah. I wonder if I can put a. God damn it. So one of the annoying things is with 0.03, the lead breaks real easily. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so I'm either gonna fill this stuff in with black. I think I'm gonna start rendering out the hair though. I'm just looking at the previous way I rendered the hair in earlier scenes, and yeah, some of it, like this is probably going to be black. This might be black. I might want to do a little to show the gleam of the deltoid. Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice shape. So yeah, that's oh yeah, and I have to do the almost ended it, but I want to figure out the shading of this guy. God damn it. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Is that good? Yeah, after this, I'm just gonna ice my eye around a little bit. I might come back. I might be done for tonight and come back tomorrow because I'm so, you know, a little fatigued and my eyes kind of sore. So, yeah. Shit. One of the things with like doing these hatch lines is to make sure that it's not the same line or pattern as what's going into the hair or into the background. That's something I've noticed that I run into, and a lot of times, like in my earlier work, like I do that, and I would end up having to really separate the characters via the coloring phase or using tone. So trying to avoid that by like having specific textures and lines define specific patterns on specific planes of the form I'm drawing. Okay, well, I don't like that at all. Yeah, the reason I don't like that is because the focal point's supposed to be here, and ideally the darkest elements next to the whitest elements, or the level of highest contrast, should be in the focal point. This, although I like the marks, draw the eye over here and it becomes a secondary or primary focal point, because that's really dark, that's really white, so I have to get rid of it. Okay, so yeah, that's why I did not like that. So but that's also why I like working with pencil, because I can kind of figure out those type of things and adjust relatively easily. Okay, I'm gonna have to rework that and then do the hair, but the face looks good. So this is Misery Show. I believe this is the 4th Misery Show, probably the final. So maybe this is the final Misery Show. Probably not. I think I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable talking on camera. And the other thing is maybe I will start focusing more on looking at instruction books, like the art of books that I have. The Rocky Chem is obviously the most successful video I've done so far. So maybe that will be a direction I go with the channel. And I also have been looking at a lot of Popeye and Osamu Tezuka. Popeye's by E.C. Seeger, which is truly amazing. I really recommend that book. It's fucking great. I didn't know Popeye was such a rad guy. Alright. What else? Alright, so I guess that's Misery Show. Yeah. One last thing, I just wanted to show what this is looking like without the light box. So.